What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 986 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm not annoyed in any way, shape, or form. There's nothing bothering me at all. Life is fantastic. Life is perfect. Really, I couldn't imagine anything else going on in the world right now. It is episode 986 of Pop Culture Crisis. I am here, at least for the moment, with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. You've just tuned in to another carefree, bubbly, tech issue-free episode of Pop Culture Crisis.
Well, it's not just that. So Colonel Kurtz had it happen yesterday, right before we went live, and she's in Texas when their weather is crap.
Really?
Out there too. I mean, she said like she was having trouble getting home because of ice storms and whatnot. So
yeah,
whatever this is, we'll pray that it's that issue. If I lose you during the show, I will just start rambling. And
guys,
maybe I'll just, you know what we need to do? Maybe we need to be proactive and find a fun way to deal with tech issues rather than pretending like they're never going to happen when you do a remote show like this live on minimal infrastructure. We just find a fun way to deal with tech issues when they come about.
so I don't know, maybe a little dance.
I'm not dancing. We'll do Q&A or something like that. We'll figure it out. By the way, we've got a 20 here from Shane H. Wilder because we are still waiting to get the crisis meter fixed. It's literally like everything's broken. That's what it feels like right now. It feels like the Simpsons meme. Like, this is fine. Everything's on fire. This is fine.
No, it's if any SpongeBob enjoyers are out there, it's like when Mr. Krabs made that amusement park for children, like Krabby Land or something. It's like that.
So, like yesterday, it literally, Colonel Kurtz checked out right, like her internet gave out right as we were starting topic one. And the best part about it was, is like, no, here's the thing. I can go to record a video, right? And I got all the energy in the world. But when you've got 2 hours ahead of you and you don't know whether the person's going to make it back on, you're just like, suddenly you're so tired. Your shoulders weigh 1,000 pounds. And you're like, am I going to be able to do this? We've got a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie. Says, Mary, one of my oldest friends, lives in Nashville. He's a freelance video editor, works from home, and has to stop working because his backup battery finally went out. So glad to hear you're not in the same boat. Yeah, you've got power at least.
My gosh. Yeah, guys, in case you were confused at the start here, we've had some pretty major connection issues throughout the day as we were prepping the show and just as we were about to start, hence our delay. And it's because I'm looking outside and I am in the Nashville tundra right now. There's a lot of ice. I was one of the fortunate few who did not have any power outages over the weekend or the past few days. There were like something like 200,000 homes that were out of power in Nashville, and thankfully mine was not one of them. But it appears the best case scenario is that our connection issues are due to inclement weather and not some intractable, diabolical problem that I don't have a solution for. Like, the ice will melt. Eventually. That will inevitably happen.
Look,
so
if I
hope
lose
that's
you,
why.
If I end up losing you, I guess the point is to not make it it's not the end of the world. This is what it is. We could have just canceled the show. So if somebody complains, and by the way, that complaint is 110%, reasonable. You have a right as the audience to hope at all times that you get the best show possible. But also, life happens and stuff happens. And it does make me long for the days where the studio issues seem so much more manageable when it was like a sound issue in the studio every once in a while.
But honestly, like in the moment, especially in that time period where the stream crashed an hour and 18 minutes in, it really did feel just as bad, if not worse.
Yes.
When those issues came up.
That one was because it's like we had no explanation as to why that would happen at the same time every day. So
that was absolutely nuts.
Look, we've been off the air for a while. How you been?
I'm keeping it together. I frankly have been isolated for as long as it's been, not exactly snowed in, but I definitely am not planning on driving anywhere until all of this is gone and cleared up. So I have essentially been stuck in my home for throughout the weekend and up until now. And I joked that I did not have the emotional maturity to admit this on camera, but I am going to now. Okay. And I don't care what anyone says. Going to the gym has been the only thing keeping me sane.
People are going to ask, let's just see who you really are, Mrs. and pull the mask off.
It's like one minute I'm eating pretzels on an airplane. The next minute I'm working out in a gym. Like, who even am I?
You're leveling up.
I'm uncovering new personalities.
You're leveling up.
I'm like the movie Split. Like, who is Mary Morgan really?
You're leveling up.
Not that I'm like a weightlifting person now. I'm to be clear, I'm not about to get jacked in the gym. But like just some physical activity and having that routine in my day has really helped me not go stir crazy, especially in the past handful of days as I've been stuck at home.
So one of the things I think you'll like, because I pointed out to you beforehand, like the same thing is true of me, like being able to live someplace where there was like a skate park indoors next to where I lived, which is something most people who do these sports never get the opportunity to have. You have to travel to go to skate parks. They, you know, especially if they're indoors, they usually cost money. So having that ability to exercise every day when everybody else is stuck inside is like the best thing in the world. And eventually what you might find is that you like it no matter what. Like even once you're allowed to go back out into polite society, you may still like going to the gym. It's something to think about. Guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into, and we will try to get into it all, but who knows what is going to happen with all of this. We're going to talk about Margot Robbie, who is currently on the press tour for her upcoming Wuthering Heights. Right? Wuthering Heights? I didn't read the book.
We were talking about the weather, so you were thinking about weather.
Wuthering Heights press tour, which is actually just a weird humiliation ritual for her husband, as she seems to be talking about her codependent relationship with co-star Jacob Elordi and how much that he did for her on Valentine's Day. He put flowers in her dressing room, and her husband's
Not
over
just
here.
Flowers, arts and crafts.
And her husband, who is a producer on the movie, is like, this is fine. I'm into that shit. So we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about the breakup of the Safdie brothers, which I'm sure brings Mary nothing but pure joy, given the fact that she kind of hates the Safdies. So, well, you don't?
I don't think I've ever watched a movie directed by either of the Safdie brothers or them together, but I mean, their typical fan base of A24 Letterboxd users probably does grind my gears.
Okay.
From what I've learned about the Safdie brothers so far today, though, I am disgusted. So
we're going to talk about that. That's for that is also, you might want to cover the children's ears when that topic starts. Also, because it's a day in which Mary is on the show, we've got something called Cheesecake Theory, which is something that
Cheesecake Theory. Wait, what's the theory?
Okay, we're going to talk about this viral cheesecake on TikTok that could kill you. Do we sound the reporters of old? Yes. What are those household chemicals in your house and how they could kill you? We're going to talk about this
cheesecake every day, you would 100% collapse.
Yeah. So we've got that. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff. You know, we are intercession maxing, as Mary would say.
Of course.
If everything falls apart, you know what? At least we gave it a shot. I'll get a participation trophy, and I'll be particularly fine with that. We've got a 20 here from Shane H. Wilder, who says, we're rooting for you guys. It's weird. He said routing for you guys. Maybe it is a router issue. We are rooting for you guys. Even if you missed my first 20, good for you for going to the gym. It does help pass the time, and the physical activity is good for you. Yes, I'm sorry. I missed Shane's first 20 because I got to the one from Pop Culture Junkie. I apologize, Shane. He says, Mary's right about airline abuse. An hour after we were supposed to take off yesterday, we had to get off the plane because it sat for 60 minutes and was a popsicle. Had to wait 3 hours for a new plane. I got home at 1 in the morning. F that ish. That is horrible.
This is what I'm talking about. This is travel abuse that they are enacting upon us as commercial flyers. You cannot escape this unless you're one of the few that can fly private. And I don't plan on being in that rarefied air anytime soon.
For the next roughly 2 hours, I'm going to look at Mary's upload bitrate and panic the whole time, and I'm going to look at her, and it's going to be
having a low level heart
attack. See, my favorite meme template on the social medias these days is the ones where it's everybody goes to the gym to work out their leg muscles and their arm muscles, but don't forget to work out your heart muscle. And it's guys just putting like 10 white monsters into a giant jug and drinking it all. I would like to believe that some of those guys actually do that and don't actually fake it, but we'll have to wait.
I do that every day. I calculated that I had, and I don't know if people think this is a lot, I had over 600 milligrams of caffeine yesterday. Is that a lot? I don't know.
That's a lot. I mean, like, so they made...
Doesn't feel like a lot to me. I could have still gone down for a nap easily.
And that's the thing. So yesterday during the show, I drank my coffee in the morning, which I do now every day. I've become officially a cold brew coffee person in the morning. It's like
you're a cold brew girly.
It's like the only thing to keep me from like burying my head in my hands when I look outside. And I love it. I don't know how much caffeine is in there, but then I had like a 5-hour energy that was like left over from our drive home because I don't want to drink energy drinks while we're driving home because then you have to go to the bathroom. And drank, and then as soon as like Kurtz's internet went out, I just slammed it. I'm like, fuck. So
you know what? You deserved it. You deserved a treat.
I earned this. So Pop Culture Junkie for 20 says, Mary, I walk 2 miles and do 10 minutes on a stationary bike every day. I can tell they create four happy hormones in my brain, making me feel better.
I believe I'm noticing that as well. I'm really fighting back against the seasonal affective. And
they talk about the runner's high. It's a very real thing.
I don't run, to be clear, but I mean, if I say it, everyone's going to judge me. I don't care. I do 20 minutes on the Stairmaster, and then I walk for like about an hour after that. And walking just feels like a breeze after the Stairmaster. So it's pretty effective for me.
That's fantastic. It's a good thing. You want to support people that go and get exercise because that's how we're going to keep people alive. It's not by body positivity. It's by encouraging people, even thin people, to exercise. There we go. Yes. Crisis party.
I'm on my health journey. Also dancing. Really strenuous. Thank you guys. That was the first party? Yep. Already?
All right, let's go ahead and let me make sure that everything resets as we always want to do. We want to make sure that everything resets. And once it resets, we will get started. We are in a weird show today. So now that we are good to go, let's get started.
Yes. Billie Eilish, the usual suspect for political virtue signaling, just posted a screed on her Instagram against ICE, as well as calling the... she called Alex Pretty an American hero for getting shot by ICE officers in Minneapolis the other day. But after all of that, I think what speaks volumes is her last post, a selfie in which she is, I guess, making kind of the looks-maxing face. She's going like this, and it's captioned, "Hey, my fellow celebrities, you gonna speak up or..."
It's supposed to be like her version of like, hey, billionaires, like, why are you a billionaire?
Yeah, she is constantly up to these antics. It's never ending with Billie Eilish. And, you know, you could pin this on her being a celebrity and knowing nothing but being a creative, famous person for most of her sentient life. But I think this is actually illuminating the way that Gen Z thinks about the world and what it means to be an activist. Mm-hmm. They literally think that reposting something on their Instagram story makes them the equivalent of today's Rosa Parks.
Yep.
Like, she legitimately thinks that posting this stuff on her Instagram story makes an actual difference in the world.
That's because people fell into the trap of how the idea that raising awareness means anything. So as long as their only responsibility is to raise awareness, you know, say what you want about the people that are actually part of like these signal chats. They're organized, they're true believers, and they're marching on the streets. They're showing up to these events. They've got tables, bottles of water, food. You know, you can disagree with what they believe in, but to say that they're not true believers and out standing on business, as the kids would say, is a lot more than what Billie Eilish is doing.
They certainly are standing on business, for better or worse, and actually making a difference in the world, a negative difference.
Whether you think it's good or bad is it's up to you. Also, I did make a video, guys. I don't remember because my brain is literally, it's Swiss cheese these days. I believe it came out at 2 today. I did a video that would have supplemented this about ICE, like mentioning ICE getting people banned on TikTok, or at least having their videos not go up. And several different celebrities were talking about this. Gracie Abrams deleted her TikTok. This really ugly comedian that nobody's ever heard of did it. But the point is, you know, there's censorship coming down the line now, which of course TikTok, the American version of TikTok, owned by Oracle and what's the other one? The other company that's owned by, it's not Peter Thiel, it's a Kushner brand, Silver Lake Capital. So everything's owned by Oracle and Silver Lake Capital. I think that's Jared Kushner, but I can't be 110% sure. They basically said that it was like a data center had a power outage and suddenly your immigration videos weren't getting made. So be that as it may.
Find that a little bit sus. But, you know, even the woke Twitter stan accounts, who are the target demographic for this type of virtue signaling, didn't take it very well. And they're dunking on Billie right now. This still of Daenerys Targaryen is just the perfect
It really is.
example.
It's one of the best memes that doesn't need any type of typing on there.
Yeah. And another person pointed out that Billie suffers from Gen Z's must look morally upright compared to others syndrome. Another one said, this is the biggest example of the performativity and moral superiority that Gen Z has over stupid shit they do on the internet instead of trying to make real change. I need everyone to see that I'm a better person than you because I post a story on Instagram. And then I'm going to try my best to read this the way it was intended from a Brit. This is such a specific American way of thinking. When stuff is off in the UK, I don't immediately start thinking, where's Daniel Craig? Where is Idris Elba? Adele? It's so bloody bizarre to see your society breaking down and to start wondering where celebrities are. And a valid critique, honestly,
you should go out for that Harry Potter audiobook, to be honest.
As an American chauvinist, I am not going to hear it from any Euros about our behavior. It is a valid point, though. It is. The celebrity worship in this country is out of control, and that is part of the reason why celebrities always jump on the opportunity to post about ICE and whatever is the trending political topic of the day. For now, it's ICE. And Billie's brother, Phineas, also jumped into the fray and backed her up on his own Instagram because he's also a slacktivist, and screenshotted this post saying, here comes certain fan bases calling Billie performative because that's the only way they can justify their own favorite artist's silence and complacency. So he's also making this into a matter of fandom wars when, I mean, in reality, none of us find this funny, regardless of what side you're on. None of this is a laughing matter. Like, we all think this is a pretty serious issue that goes beyond stan Twitter wars, but he is using this to bolster his and his sister's careers. He also said, I'm always on here hollering about something, but today I'm seeing people who virtually never chime in about anything post about Alex I'm moved by this and grateful to anyone taking the time.
So he's right in a way. So here's the thing. Being that I'm from Minnesota, I have a lot of friends and family from the state of Minnesota, and most of them, when they post online, they don't talk about politics. They just don't. Like a lot of them, maybe they're political these days. I don't know, but it doesn't make it to their Instagram stories. This is one of those things that broke that barrier, and suddenly everybody's posting about it.
Yeah.
And look, I'm never going to fault them for that because they're on their own political journey. They're not where I am as far as my understanding of the political landscape. But then you have to look through and look at all of the people who now suddenly know more than everybody else about these things. And you just, you know, it's whatever.
The George Floydification of Renee Good and Alex Pretty is most certainly hijacking the brains of normies at this point. And
I do have a friend though who's posting, like, his way to combat this is he's posting all of the old Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama videos on immigration from like 2008, And it's just it's not stopping anything, because the people that have these thoughts are having emotional thoughts, but it's neutralizing their argument when they talk about which party is the more dangerous. Or he posted the video of Bernie Sanders talking about how open borders was a right-wing talking point, done by big business who wants to depress the wages of the American people. And at the very least, it forces them to confront the fact that whatever they believe, they probably didn't believe it 10 years ago.
Facts. And I mean, this is probably besides the point, but at this point, the Trump administration has reverted back to Obama era immigration policy, which is only targeting illegal immigrants who have a criminal rap sheet instead of just the crime of entering and residing in this country illegally. But that's besides the point. The tone of Phineas's post is obviously a jab at other celebrities and public figures who he believes are not as virtuous as he and his sister are. And then he followed this up in a TikTok video, which, you know what, we're not even going to bother playing.
I don't want to play videos. I don't want to risk it today. It feels like bad juju to do it.
But he said, the conservative argument that allows school shootings to continue has always boiled down to, we have to protect the Second Amendment. We have to allow people to carry weapons legally. Every argument I've seen for why Alex Pretty's death was justified is like, well, he had a gun. Shut the F up. You've spent 30 years telling us that children have to die so that we're allowed to legally carry weapons in the United States. This guy was being beaten to a pulp on the ground. He didn't draw his weapon. He had a weapon on him legally, and they shot the F out of him. And it should be noted, this video was very obviously suppressed in the TikTok algorithm. I went and checked his page. It had 0 views for a prolonged period of time,
which is
when he has millions of followers.
Yeah, it's not believable.
All of his videos get millions of views. That was insane. And when I checked, it only had 30,000 views after hours of being up on his page.
Also, guys, don't let this situation don't let the weirdos that are turning this into a Second Amendment issue cause you to change your perspective. When people started talking about military style weapons and extra mags, which is nothing any different from what many people who conceal and carry every day carry on them. Maybe not everyone carries 2 extra mags, but carrying, first of all, I don't know anybody who would carry a SIG 320 conceal and carry anyways, because they don't want to get shot with it in case it goes off accidentally. But in general, it did become something where Kristi Noem and some of the people at DHS were talking about it in a way that definitely made it seem like they want to come after your guns. So don't fall for that bullshit. Whatever these people say, that shit doesn't work either, and that you can't trust the government no matter who's in charge.
Okay, sorry, well, you're of course allowed to legally carry a gun in this country. What you're not allowed to do is impede the arrest of another citizen or resist your own arrest aggressively. That is why this happened. But we don't really need to litigate all of that.
No, but the point was, like, we were going to talk. I thought about talking about this yesterday. Now, you brought up Billie Eilish specifically, but because this coincides with award show season, it is like a stampede of celebrities talking about it. So I was like, you know what? Yeah. I don't even want to. It's just depressing. It's just sad because the whole situation is sad. And the amount of celebrities, and the point I made in my video about TikTok was like, you can usually tell which one of them are quote unquote standing on business and which ones of them are just doing so because some dude at an award show shoved a microphone in their face and said, "What do you think about this?" And they're like, "Crap, I can't say no comment because that looks bad." They're like, there's no answer. So they have to give some canned phrase response. And it's not in Billie Eilish is interesting because the music industry is different than Hollywood, but the rest of it, it's so boring.
Well, with Billie, it's really not because she's famous. It's not because she's a celebrity or a musician. It is because of her. This is a particular pathology in her generation. She just is a more visible example of it.
I love those. Have you seen the I don't know if it's a TikToker, but there is this guy who was talking about, he's like, caring about everyone is not, it's like, that's hubris. It's pure hubris to think that you can care about everyone in the planet equally. You're programmed as a human being to care about like 150 people max, which is why the internet is a constant assault against your better nature, because you are not designed to care about everyone in the world equally. It's actually unbelievably narcissistic and arrogant to believe that you could.
Yeah, and it's nonsensical to believe that, you know, posting something or reposting something to your Instagram story is the equivalent of like caring about an issue. Yeah. That's obviously performative, and that's what Billie Eilish is being accused of, rightfully so. Meanwhile, she takes every opportunity to enrich herself while screaming about how billionaires need to give away their money. But it wasn't just her. I mean, I saw Katy Perry shared instructions with her followers on Instagram on how to call their senators to block funding for ICE. There was also a nearly identical script delivered by both Zoe Deutsch and Natalie Portman about ICE in separate interviews. So there's obviously some sort of coordination behind the scenes. And then Olivia Wilde was wearing an ICE out pin at Sundance. I also saw even Martha Stewart posting a screenshot of a text that she got from her granddaughter shaming her for not using her platform to condemn ICE. And then she admitted fault for it and apologized for her silence. I just cannot believe it's gotten to this point. Even Ethan Hawke on a red carpet interview said that, you know, we're in such a scary time where celebrities don't feel like they're free to speak out about politics. I'm like, what planet are you living on? I can't escape celebrities talking about politics right now. What are you talking about? None of you are scared to speak up. I would love if you were. Jennifer Lawrence is the only one who seems to have the sense not to.
Yep. Well, no, there's plenty of them that do. They're just the ones you don't hear about. Because they're not the ones who are not saying anything are the ones that I don't like that argument, though. I kind of hate that argument that people make. It's like, if they're not talking about politics, they're probably a conservative. I'm like, there's plenty of people who just don't care.
Right. And they have a right not to care, as you said.
All right, let's move on. Olivia Wilde and the ugliest glasses on planet Earth.
Yes. So Olivia Wilde was at the Sundance Film Festival for the debut of her new movie, I Want Your Sex. And on the red carpet, she was asked for her opinion as to why Gen Z has such a distaste for sex and sexual content in movies and TV shows. And this was a stat that we actually discussed on the show. 48.4% of Gen Z say that there is too much sex and sexual content in TV and movies per a UCLA study. So that's almost half. And it wasn't just about sex. They also said they would like to see less romance in movies and TV. But Olivia Wilde was asked for her explanation of why Gen Z feels this way. And she tread very carefully because she didn't want the Zoomers to come after her online. And this was her take. Let's play this from the Variety interview.
Rip to your Wi-Fi signal.
But you don't have to screen share with me.
All right.
I don't know where that's coming from.
Studies say that Gen Z, almost half of them don't want to see as much sex on TV and movies. So what do you think Gen Z doesn't understand about sex?
I don't know. I think Gen Z is pretty smart. I would never dare to say they don't understand anything. I think they understand a lot more than the rest of us.
She said, I think that they understand a lot more than the rest of us. Okay.
So I don't know where that's coming from. It's interesting. I think that, you know, the way that sex has been portrayed in film for a long time hasn't been particularly realistic, or I think that there's been this kind of movement now towards authenticity, which is really good. So I choose to interpret that statistic maybe as Gen Z saying we don't.
So she says they're going towards authenticity. So is it going to be like movies where a couple's been married for 20 years and they have sex once a month and on Valentine's Day and that's when they show it? Because that doesn't sound like a movie you actually make.
Oh, no, it does not. it doesn't sound like anything anybody wants to see.
I don't want to see inauthenticity anymore. We want to see like real relationships, and we want to have something that feels more genuine. So
she said they want to see real relationships. I believe we also talked about a study at one point where they said they didn't want to see romantic relationships at all. They wanted to see found friend groups and platonic relationships and stuff like that. They didn't have any interest. And maybe that's not because they don't have an interest in looking at relationships. Maybe they just got sick of knowing that every time it was about relationships, it was going to show you unneeded sex scenes that you didn't actually want to watch.
Right. Yeah.
Also, these things, I saw somebody had made a great point, said these shows and movies are devoid of like being able to portray the actual butterflies in your stomach when you fall in love. None of the stories that you see today lean into the positive aspects of romance. They only lean into the dysfunctional aspects of romance.
Yeah, and we do have a serious drought of rom-coms, and that's a whole separate issue. But this is a serious misreading of the situation from Olivia Wilde. It's so she says Gen Z doesn't want to see inauthentic portrayals of sex on screen.
So she's like, no prosthetics. You have to actually do it and just become a porn star, I guess.
Okay, any depiction of sex in a TV show or movie is by definition inauthentic. Obviously, it's a simulation of sex. It's going to be inauthentic regardless. But I mean, just judging by what I've learned so far about this new movie that she stars in, I Want Your Sex, let's see how realistic this is. It centers on a contemporary artist who corrupts her young assistant and becomes his sexual dom. And then the synopsis says, it follows the boundary-pushing, age-gap romance between a renowned artist named Erica, played by Olivia Wilde, and her so-called sexual muse, who finds himself out of his depth as he is taken on a journey into a world of, what is this, sex, mystery, murder, whatever. Okay, none of this sounds very realistic, does it?
No.
This doesn't sound ordinary.
I didn't know Johnny Knoxville did acting. Johnny Knoxville is in this movie, and Charlie XCX. So many reasons not to go.
Yeah, and Charlie XCX is in it because who cares anymore, right? Yeah. And her co-star, Mason Gooding, agreed with her take during his own interview, saying it's about authenticity and seeing something authentic about how they see it on screen.
They're just stringing
What
words
does that
together.
sentence even mean?
It doesn't mean anything.
I'm just going to say that real slow. It's about authenticity and seeing something authentic about how they see it on screen.
What he said doesn't actually mean anything. It's just something that sounds good when you're giving an interview. And then the interviewer goes, yeah, of course. What?
And they pat you on the back.
Yeah.
The portrayal of sex scenes, he continues, before was hot and heavy, as if it has to be this climax of passionate catharsis. Sex, more times than not in real life, has awkward relatability and tension.
How do you do that unless it's a straight up comedy?
Their take is that portrayals of sex on screen need to be awkward and ugly, and then Gen Z will be all about it.
Postmodernism all the way.
They have gotten the point across as clearly as they possibly can that they do not want to see sex on screen, regardless of how it's portrayed. They do not want to see sex on screen. It's awkward. It's unnecessary. It is inauthentic by its very nature. It's never going to be authentic.
I was looking back at the old article about the UCLA study about Gen Z not wanting sex on screen. And they mention, like, sorry, Bella, Edward, and Jacob, younger viewers are totally over the whole love triangle trope, once a staple of YA stories. Yeah, because the stories advanced to become no longer YA. They're just book talk shit that millennials are looking at, where a gigantic worm and a werewolf vie for the affections of a woman who's getting pounded by both of them, because that's what women want to read.
Let it be known, there is no graphic sexual material in any of the Twilight movies. None of it. It's all fade to black. Best kind of sex scene is one that fades to black. And Then another cast member from I Want Your Sex said that she hopes the movie will give exposure therapy to Gen Z about sexual experience and inspires them to get out there. What is wrong with someone who thinks like this? What, like, you're hoping that they watch this disgusting pornographic movie and think like, oh, I want to have a sexual relationship with someone, 30 years older than me and become their sexual dom or something. Like, what are you talking about? That is insane.
I've walked back my position where I said there's possibly some scenes like that may service the story. There is none for me. Like and I posted about this on X recently where I was just like, maybe kids just don't want to be watching something with family members and have awkward interactions where somebody has to awkwardly leave the room. And somebody basically was like, somebody's a fuddy-duddy. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Like nothing is lost. Anytime you fast forward through any scene like this, nothing is lost whatsoever.
The reality is we live in a day and age where anybody can pull out their phone and look up a sex scene on a porn website in a moment's notice. We do not need or want that in mainstream entertainment. That demand is already more than supplied for in the market. Okay? We do not need this in movies or TV shows. And it does prevent it from being a communal experience with family or friends because it's incredibly awkward to sit through.
So obscenity laws is what you're saying.
Yeah, my take was, you can basically avoid the need for all of these intimacy coordinators on set in Hollywood films by reinstating the Hays Code. That's my unpopular take, but I stand by it. None of this is necessary in the first place. And, I actually just saw a statement from the creator of Tilly Norwood, the AI actress, about how using an AI actor is an ethical alternative to the stress that real actors are under and the pressure they're under when they perform sex scenes or other dangerous stunts. They said, here's a truth that's often uncomfortable to say. Traditional acting demands that performers put their bodies and sometimes mental health on the line. Dangerous stunts, intimate scenes, and extreme physical transformation, endless hours of hair, makeup, and retouching are part of the deal, not to mention the scrutiny if a performer's face ages in the wrong way. And yet still some find it more acceptable for a person to change their appearance through surgery rather than digitally. With AI, performers can explore roles without the need for dangerous stunts, extreme beauty standards, or invasive procedures. The focus can shift to what really matters: timing, emotional intelligence, intention, and expression. Well, those are all things that AI is incapable of. It's a deeply humane approach and focuses on the real craft of storytelling. So I guess if you ask Tilly Norwood, the best way to keep sex scenes in movies and TV shows without presenting a huge liability for studios is...
Well, I guess they got to hire the male equivalent named Billie Norwood, and then they can
Billie and Tilly.
Billie and Tilly. All right.
The iconic duo. Name a more iconic duo in Hollywood.
I'll wait.
Incredible.
All right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day? Oh, by the way, we're gonna save super chats till the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're just gonna do it that way. So, Mary, what would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's start with the cringe.
Okay.
This is actually a few years old, maybe a bit of a throwback, but from the filming of a Megan Thee Stallion music video. Just focus on the cameraman here.
Why is he wearing a mask? It must have been COVID time.
It was like 2021, I think. Okay. Yeah. Look at him. This is insane.
It's just the world is ridiculous.
I know.
The world is ridiculous. I like this as the camera. It's Michael Jordan. All right, cute of the day, and this will make up for it. This was from Bobby. No name, no nothing, no way to brag about who the kitty is, which is sad, but it's a very cute kitty.
He or she is an adorable ball of fluff.
And we will do one more from Dead Man. Says Valentine has found a new hiding place on top of the bookcase. More photos coming for the day she came from the day she came home in February. Looks very cute and very tired. I like it.
Love that.
It's a very
Love the
cute
first
thing.
one. I love when cats look like squids.
Yep. All
That
right.
pose.
Let's move on. Let's get started. Margot Robbie.
Okay. So I guess Hollywood has forgotten how to market a movie without conjuring up some kind of rumor about the co-stars having an extramarital affair. And that's what's currently happening with the press tour for Wuthering Heights. This is a reimagined adaptation of the original Bronte story starring Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. Margot Robbie, for context, is married and a mother. And the route that they've taken to promote this movie is essentially spinning a tale about how these two have struck up a whirlwind romance on set to the point of becoming toxically codependent on one another. And everyone just finds it not only creepy and disrespectful to Margot Robbie's husband, but also impossible to believe. We're all far too cynical for true showmance in this day and age.
So not just Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, but think like Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson, where they're like, yeah, these two old people fell in love and found each other so much later in life. And then later it's like, no, none of that was real. Nobody's buying.
That was all fanfic. And it's like, fool me once, shame on me, but fool me like 1,000 times, shame on you. Yeah. So this Vogue cover really tells the whole story. First of all, like, this is supposed to be really hot and steamy, and they're not even looking at each other. And like one of the top replies said, "You can just tell Jacob Elordi's heart ain't in it." Like,
he does kind of look like he
does not want to be there.
He looks like it's like picture 50. And they've been doing this for 2 hours, and he's like, "I'm hungry. Like,
yeah,
I think I might
he's
have."
He's thinking about what's for lunch.
I think I might have Qdoba for lunch.
Yeah, exactly. And everything is sexual, but nothing is sexy. Margot Robbie told Fandango in an interview that she has become codependent with Jacob Elordi during the filming of Wuthering Heights. She said, "I found myself starting to look around to see where he was. I was really unnerved and unmoored, and I felt quite lost, like a kid without their blanket or something."
People don't say unmoored in sentences. I'm sorry. They just don't.
What is this? Like, okay. And then Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie said they missed each other while working with other co-stars. She admitted that she felt jealous when Jacob Elordi shared scenes that did not include her.
I don't believe that for 10 seconds. I believe that she too was thinking about what she was going to eat at craft services.
Yeah. And in a separate interview with Vogue, Margot Robbie revealed that Jacob Elordi gifted her this extravagant display for Valentine's Day last year while they were in the middle of shooting the movie. She said to him, "You made my day, and as Heathcliff, filled my room with roses, and it was so cute. I remember thinking, oh, he's probably a very good boyfriend. It wasn't just the gesture of the roses. It was the thing written from Heathcliff and that little tombstone thing. This guy is writing her a love note in character, like method acting, writing her a love letter and cutting out like handcrafted, like she's talking about like 3D tombstone shaped arts and crafts that he supposedly set up in her hotel room. Who is buying this shit?
First of all,
Seriously.
I don't. What they mean by that is Jacob Elordi's assistant did this, if it happened at all.
Yeah, I hope they're getting paid adequately for
nobody
that.
Believes this.
Here, one reply said, all promo tours are going to involve actors pretending they fell in love with each other during the shoot. Another one said, am I the only smart person who knows this is PR set up by the producer of the film, who is Margot's husband?
Yeah.
So it all appears to be very disrespectful to her husband, but in reality, this is probably a plan for promoting the movie that he is in on himself, which makes it even sicker. Like, that doesn't actually make it less disturbing.
It's not like they don't have money. This isn't like him being broke and needing to do this so that they can make a paycheck. They got plenty of money.
No. Another reply said, releasing a sex tape would be 10 times more dignified than whatever slop marketing gimmick this is. And it's true because, you know, the audience just isn't buying it. Like, I know actors are weird, emotional people, and they get really in their own head about the roles that they play. But this is just jumping the shark for most people.
Well, and for that, that also speaks to their kind of self-absorption and how highly they think of their profession.
Yeah, and Jacob Elordi might be the common denominator here because I wanted to bring up this clip of Mia Goth promoting Frankenstein. She co-starred in that movie with Jacob Elordi and talked about having a similar dynamic with him here.
Here we go.
I would like give him like vitamin C and like ginger shots, or I would send him a pizza and like trying to just like look after him.
Bro, if I squinted, I could just say that was like weird looking Millie Bobby Brown.
And just trying to do that off screen so that by the time we met on camera, that kind of dynamic was already taking place, I guess. So this want to protect was already kind of taking place.
Okay.
So she was just randomly door dashing Jacob Elordi all the time while they were in the middle of filming this movie.
Yesterday I was talking about Kristen Stewart, and what came up was her past comments about how only men are method actors because acting is in itself inherently silly and they have to like get themselves there by pretending it's something else. Maybe this is like the female version of method acting.
Well, her point was like men find it more difficult to make that leap of vulnerability on set. So when they method act, it's kind of like a magic trick that makes them feel less embarrassed about the vulnerability they're required to display in front of all these people. And, you know, more than any of this showman's performance, the movie is getting dragged for its inaccuracy, not only its historical inaccuracy, but inaccuracy to the source material. And that was intentional on the filmmaker's part. Emerald Fennell, I believe, said that it was intended to be totally divorced from the source material and just an imaginative version of it that I guess was conjured up in the mind of a tween reading the book.
Okay.
And that's why Margot Robbie is playing a 17-year-old character at the age of what, like 36.
Okay.
And why she's wearing all of these insane costumes that make zero sense for the time period. So yeah, and it's really appealing to that book talk audience. Of course, they're trying to corner in that audience because it's making a lot of money. The Housemaid is another example of that. And Margot Robbie admitted that she threw a party at her house, a private screening of Wuthering Heights for all of her girlfriends. And she said the dress code was Victorian slutty. It was, according to her, the most unhinged experience of my life. 20 women were frothing at the mouth like rabid dogs. I was like, if Jacob Elordi walked in right now, I think they would eat him. There was nothing appropriate about this night at all, particularly not the commentary throughout the film. So we're talking about the average book talk enthusiast here. It's obviously just a smut.
It just
film.
feels so like of the like it wouldn't be the point. Like I've never read the book, so I don't know. But wouldn't be the point? The point be to try and make something timeless rather than something that feels very of its time, where it could age out in 5 years, where it's very clear who the audience was for once that trend comes and goes.
Yeah, that's kind of why I appreciated the Anya Taylor-Joy Emma. That was a Jane Austen adaptation, and I really liked it. And it didn't feel like it was so connected to present day references and pop culture. Like everyone is saying that Wuthering Heights is basically filmed like a 2-hour-long music video. The soundtrack being made bespoke by Charlie XCX doesn't help either. The whole thing is just it's very cheap, and it feels like it's just made for like bored women who, you know, read too many romance novels. That's who this is for.
Sounds about right. All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into. You're going to have to tell everybody what is going on with the Safdie brothers. I'm sure this will require some backstory.
Definitely. You're not going to like it. So Timothée Chalamet's recent movie, Marty Supreme, is a major contender at this year's Oscars. It's actually the first year, I think, of the Oscars where the voters are required to watch the movies, which is insane.
Crazy.
It got nine nominations total, which is incredible. And Timothée Chalamet's chances at winning an Oscar for the first time for Best Actor are currently in jeopardy because of a recent scandal that was reported about the Safdie brothers. So Marty Supreme was directed by Josh Safdie without his brother and longtime filmmaking partner, Ben Safdie. And it was because of their professional breakup, which, did have a lot of speculation surrounding it. People weren't really sure why they stopped working together up until recently.
Okay.
And I read through this piece reported in Page Six. They have the new version of the New York Post, the California Post. And
I saw that. It's the same logo and everything.
It went through the backstory. And honestly, I didn't know much about the Safdie brothers before this, other than that they were behind Uncut Gems, which was a huge success. Everything I've learned about them so far from this article is worse than anything that Harvey Weinstein was dubiously accused of during the height of the Me Too movement. So the title here says, How a Controversial Teen Sex Scene Led to a Rift Between the Safdie Brothers. And they go into detail here. One of the more enduring riddles that has mystified Hollywood in recent years is what triggered the rift between Josh and Benny Safdie. Trying to figure out what prompted the breakup of the hottest indie director duo in town, brothers no less, after a string of critically acclaimed hits, has been a favored parlor game of Hollywood insiders and reporters. Rumors swirled that one brother went full MAGA, creating tensions, while the duo vaguely blamed the Writers Guild and SAG-AFTRA strike in conversation with colleagues. Speculation only intensified on Thursday, January 22nd, when Josh Safdie nabbed 4 Oscar nominations for his solo effort, Marty Supreme, when Benny Safdie came up empty-handed for The Smashing Machine. There was 1 Oscar nomination for The Smashing Machine, but in a minor category, so it pales in comparison. But the root of the quarrel stems from a much darker incident that occurred on the set of their 2017 breakout, Good Time. Page Six Hollywood can reveal, with Benny cutting ties with his brother in 2023 after he learned the full scope of the event. And I'll preface here, the whole piece basically frames Benny Safdie as sort of an unwitting participant in this scandal, as if he's just some stupid boom operator who has no idea what's going on. I would like to just clarify that he definitely bears responsibility for the incident that I'm about to explain. According to sources of Good Time, a 17-year-old girl was cast to play a prostitute in the crime thriller. Once on set, the teenager was thrust into a scene that involved nudity and simulated sex with actor Buddy Duress during production in New York. And they put actor in scare quotes there because he's not an actor. He's an ex-convict. And the Safdie brothers are notorious for including a mix of professional stars like the film's lead Robert Pattinson, as well as non-actors like Buddy Duress. That was his stage name. He had just been released from prison at the time. By the way, he's now dead from a heroin overdose that occurred in 2023, so we don't have any comment from him on this incident. But he had been jailed numerous times, dating back to 2009, on drug charges, weapons violations, fencing stolen property, and motor vehicle theft. While Josh watched the action unfold on his monitor and Benny stood in the corner holding the boom, Buddy Duress, who was high at the time, pulled down his pants, exposed himself, and asked the girl if he could stick it in as the cameras continued to roll. Multiple sources told Page Six Hollywood. Any director who had seen that should have yelled cut and stopped the scene, but Josh let it continue.
And that's just Hollywood in a nutshell, where the guy's like, oh, this is so real. It's like it's so organic, like let the cameras roll. And that's just what's wrong with Hollywood.
And again, they're saying, oh, well, Josh was technically the one in charge of the film. He was the director, not Benny, so it was his problem. No, everyone present on this set is at fault in some regard. 3 sources say that Josh, who is now vying for Best Director, became aware of the girl's age on the day of production, shortly after the scene shot. As the traumatized girl spiraled, Josh declined to comment for this story, obviously. Using a minor for a nudity and sex scene would flout industry norms. I beg to differ. I think if the Academy had any moral center, this would impact Oscar chances for the film for Marty Supreme, but it's not going to, because all these people are morally corrupt scumbags. And this cites a SAG rule that stipulates work conditions must not be detrimental to the health, morals, and safety of a minor. Those familiar with the events say Josh's recklessness was beyond the pale. They did have the sense to remove the scene from the final cut of the movie because they knew that it went against these rules and against the law. That was not shown in the premiere at the Cannes Film Festival in 2017.
Somebody in the Rumble chat said age of consent in New York is 17. I don't think that matters in this case, does it?
Well, it doesn't matter because of the federal law around CP. So, yeah. Sources close to them insist that the scene was excised for creative reasons, though. But the repercussions of that incident didn't surface until 2022, when their former producing partner, Sebastian Bear-McClard, became locked in a divorce with Emily Ratajkowski, threatening to expose the Good Time dirty laundry. In a side drama, Bear-McClard had become romantically involved with the Good Time actress after production wrapped, and that information was now bubbling up in Emrata's battle for custody of their son. And for additional context, I found this later on. According to Good Time sources, it was found that Bear-McClard reached out to this girl on Instagram. That's how she found her. She's not an actress. She was not auditioning for this role. He literally slid into the DMs of a 17-year-old girl on Instagram, and that's how she became involved in the project. So also, he is responsible. And sources also said Bear-McClard had dalliances on the set of Uncut Gems, including an extramarital fling with a cast member. A rep for the siblings at the time said they were made aware of his behavior in July 2022. It was also the moment Benny was made aware of the Good Time actress's age, creating a wedge between the brothers, as one friend of theirs described it. Josh blamed Bear-McClard for hiring the minor. Bear-McClard pushed back and noted that he wasn't the producer responsible for ensuring her age.
Yes, everybody just passing the blame around to whoever it is. Now, who does it say was in charge of the casting? Was it Bear-McClard or was it the Safdie brothers?
He was responsible for reaching out to her for the project, but so ultimately he wasn't on set when this occurred.
This would be an executive producer's job to double and triple check all of this stuff.
Right. Yeah. And then the brothers cut ties with Bear-McClard and began private mediation to unravel the company that the trio founded. And people are like, okay, you're cutting ties with him 6 years later. Something isn't adding up. You're trying to protect your own asses. You don't actually care about the injustice that occurred. Still, the Safdies continued to work with each other after for another 9 months amid tensions. In early 2023, they were in pre-production on another property that would reunite them with their Uncut Gems star Adam Sandler at Netflix. In March 2023, Tatiana Siegel reported for Variety on the behind-the-scenes drama of Emily Ratajkowski's split from Bear-McClard, which included some of the details from the Good Time incident, including the girl's age. So this has been public knowledge for years at this point. It was the final straw for Benny Safdie, who swiftly ended his creative partnership with his brother. As a result, their Adam Sandler project for Netflix was dead. The auteurs then went their separate ways. And as the town pondered the breakup, it turns out the sibling rivalry in this year's Oscar race is merely a secondary drama. Now that the dust has settled on this year's nominations, it's clear that Josh Safdie prevailed. And that is showing in the number of nominations Marty Supreme got. Regardless, both will continue to work with Hollywood's A-list, but some of Josh's longtime associates are asking at what cost. The brothers have a history of playing fast and loose with labor norms in creating their signature aesthetic. While shooting a music video for Jay-Z in 2017, they allegedly raised eyebrows when they kept a child actor on a rooftop past 1 a.m. long after the allowable 8 hours. An on-set source says that he was horrified by Josh's lack of regard for the child, who cried and asked to go home because he was tired.
My God.
Just that is so disgusting and sad. Josh Safdie still appears to be enamored with working with unhinged non-actors. Hence, this recent comment from Timothée Chalamet about filming Marty Supreme with a background actor who was also not an actor. According to Timothée Chalamet, this background actor told him, "I was just in jail for 30 years. You don't want to F with me." He said, "I won't say who, but in that motel sequence, there were a lot of non-actors that I find it really thrilling to work with, but sometimes it would take multiple takes to get something out of them. And I'm getting in this guy's face, really trying to get him angry with me. And I was saying to Josh Safdie, he's not getting angry. He's not getting angry with me. I did another take, and the guy said, I was just in jail for 30 years. You don't want to F with me. You don't want to see me angry. I said to Josh, holy shit, who do you have me opposite, man?" Because this is just what they do, you know, to add texture to a project. They just find people who are fresh out the slammer and put them in a Hollywood set and expect nothing bad to happen. But apparently the Academy voters are inclined to reward Josh Safdie's risky style. It seems they have a very short memory when it comes to on-set behavior of their best directors, says Anne Henry, co-founder of Biz Parents, an advocacy group for child actors. She says, "It's troubling that just a few years later, Josh Safdie is being honored as a director. I don't consider a director who hires a non-union kid off Instagram, skirts safety protections for minors, has a girl do a surprise nude scene to be stellar. I would have hoped Oscar-nominated directors would be judged for their methods and professionalism as well. We shouldn't be in a create entertainment at all costs environment."
Yeah.
And it's just kind of shocking that this goes on in a post-Me Too era, not because anybody had some kind of like come to Jesus moment in Hollywood. Like, obviously these people have zero moral scruples, but just in terms of your own self-interest and protecting yourself from liability, you would try to prevent things like this from happening. Yep, but their habits have not changed at all.
We got a 20 here from Shane H. Wilder. He says, I'm detecting a theme: sex depravity in Hollywood. True stories. I wrote a movie script 3 years ago and tried to shop it around. I kept getting responses that it needed a sex scene between two teen characters. No, it did not.
Ew. What is wrong with people?
People are
like, just regardless of anything, like, even if this girl were some like 18-year-old, like, it's detailed in the piece that she's this like random impoverished girl who happened to live in the area, who had this major Hollywood producer slide into her DMs and brought her to the set with zero prior knowledge. She thought she was like, oh, I'm gonna meet Robert Pattinson or whatever. And then they're like, take your clothes off in front of a dozen random men who have no idea who they are. Yeah. And then have sex with this guy who just left prison. That should just not be happening under any circumstances.
You know, you'd think that the bean counters would stop it. You'd think that the people in charge of the insurance on these things, whose whole job it is to see these problems coming a mile away, would be the ones to prevent it from happening.
And by the way, this is not like some bombshell revelation. Like, this incident has been a matter of public knowledge since 2023, at least. And it has had zero impact on the opportunities and access that the Safdie brothers have to the rest of the industry. People do not care. Yeah. They do not care. They pay lip service. You know, they're going to all the SAG protests and complaining about their health insurance, and they're complaining about Harvey Weinstein and misogyny and intimacy coordinators and stuff. They don't care. Okay, they'll do anything for a paycheck. They're essentially prostitutes.
All right, that was depressing enough. Okay, that is a good way to shine a light on the worst aspects of Hollywood. Let's move on, though. There's some less depressing stuff to get into.
We can turn to a little bit more of a lighthearted topic now. So I think that if you have been scrolling TikTok, you have seen this by now. There is a new trend called the Japanese cheesecake trend. It's this viral recipe for a 2-ingredient cheesecake alternative for those health-conscious people among us. You basically take a serving of Greek yogurt, you put 2 Biscoff cookies in it, you leave that in the fridge overnight, and when you eat it, it's like kind of tastes like cheesecake, and it's not as many calories, it's high protein. It's a nice little treat to have if you're on a diet and if you're keeping track of your macros. Nothing crazy. But then a certain corner of TikTok found out about this and bastardized it to make it the most gluttonous, biblically sinful food item I've ever even laid eyes on. Mm-hmm. So they ended up they found those tubs of pre-made Philadelphia brand cheesecake that have like 2,500 calories each. And then they're sticking like 50 Biscoff cookies in it.
Which I didn't eat till like this year for the first time. They're very good.
They're great, yeah. And then not only that, they're also going to next cover the entire thing in syrup and like cookie butter topping and jam. And then you have the final product. And that then adds up to about 4,000 calories in one sitting. And people are eating the entire thing and shortening their lifespans, no doubt. Like this is, if you ate this on a regular basis, that is a death sentence. Mm-hmm. You are going to collapse. And is anybody thinking about the consequences? No, because this is the type of gluttony that you read about in the Bible. No one is thinking about the consequences. And it was just supposed to be a nice little like life hack for a healthy alternative. And people had to take it and run with it and make it something disgusting. Let's play this video explaining the unfolding of events.
Here we go.
We as Americans have to ruin something so simple that could help so many people and then decide.
Why is the music so freaking ominous? It's like the most ominous music I've ever heard in my entire life.
You know what?
Because it is.
In a 24-hour time span, let's fucking supersize this shit. Unless you've been living under a fucking rock, you know what the Japanese viral cheesecake, Biscoff, whatever the.
Look, I checked yesterday. I don't live under a rock, but I had never heard of this. So just let that be known.
Fuck thing is, what started off as a innocent Greek yogurt cup with 3 Biscoff cookies, something so simple and could help so many people lose some weight, all while enjoying a sweet fucking treat. How the fuck do some of y'all fat motherfuckers decide to get, I'm literally shaking, a Philadelphia cheesecake bucket, dump a dozen of these cookies in there like 3 wasn't enough, Biscoff creamy butter, and we're gonna dump at least an 1/8 of it on
like
there.
That just doesn't even look appetizing.
Be that guy right now, but I'm gonna count all the calories.
It was like, did you ever see that old video? It was like, it went viral on X like a couple years ago of this guy who's like, he was like 300 pounds and he had like an entire basket of flavored waters, and he was just dumping 30 different flavored waters into one 12-ounce bottle of water.
Water talk is a whole other beast. Like that's, obesity central. But then this creator goes through the math. We should
for this, a no-bake cheesecake mix, 2,000 calories. Just the base by itself would put me in cardiac arrest. From that video from before, there were 22 Biscoff cookies, 825 calories. Are we going for a triple bypass PR? The Biscoff butter, there's no way to track it, but I'm gonna guesstimate another 600 calories, and I'm being completely generous about that. In total, you're around 3,400 calories. I'm 6'4", 215 pounds. That is just shy of my maintenance amount of calories. I don't care how down horrendous I get. I could never justify eating that many calories in this little of a tub. If any of you guys see me eating that, shoot me. Shoot me right in the face. Some demon had to have possessed me, and the only way to put me out is if you fucking kill me. Gluttony is a goddamn sin. America, please. Can we do better? Anyways, y'all take care and have a great rest of the
Okay.
So this is kind of how you know that sweet treat culture has gone way too far, because that's not a sweet treat. That should probably cover your calorie needs as a sedentary person for like 3 days.
Yep.
Actually.
He's also he's a fitness TikToker, so I'm sure it particularly enrages him.
Yeah, and you know what's even crazier about it? You could just go to Cheesecake Factory and get a slice of real cheesecake for like 800 calories if you were really wanting it that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you even need an alternative at that point? Like, you just defeated the purpose of the whole hack.
I would never be able to finish that whole thing anyways, not even the small one.
And people are calling it a Japanese cheesecake recipe. It's funny because, you know, we're constantly remarking at how healthy people in Japan are compared to Americans. The obesity rates speak for themselves, and yet they do eat carbs. They eat tons of rice, and they do have sweets. And it's just because moderation is a foreign concept to Americans, unfortunately. And, you know, some people just don't care about being alive, clearly. But on a lighter note, a different food trend that I came across recently really has sparked the interest of a lot of women, because they don't care about counting their macros either. They don't care about protein. This woman named Courtney Cook Bales, she is a school teacher with a very charming Southern accent, and she teaches literature to children by day, but moonlights as a food influencer. And this is her favorite recipe that has basically become a viral sensation. She's getting invited on all of the daytime talk shows to share this recipe. And it consists of a sweet potato and cheese. That's it.
But it's late and I need a snack before going home, because I'm telling you, I walk in the house and it's like, so I'm gonna quickly eat and then I'm gonna go home and be with the fam. Okay, so butter kaze, German cheese, fabulous. Butter is right because it is buttery. It's like Velveeta.
Butter is right because it's buttery.
The texture is just like Velveeta and American cheese had a baby. Okay, this, you guys, is a garnet potato. Okay, I don't like the way that looks. I had to cut it in half so it would fit in the little baby air fryer, okay, because it's not gonna fit, but look at that.
She's like the quintessential of the meme. It's like normal people drinking a water. They go like this. Influencer drinking a water.
Oh yeah, and then they do the touch test, and then they drink it, and then they're like, run, don't walk to your nearest water fountain.
It's like I just found this new drink. It's called Baja Blast, and I'm gonna try it for you guys.
Baja, it's called Baja Blast.
It's ever so slightly warm.
This is really what caught people's attention.
We're gonna
this is her move.
Get that cheese in there.
Just sticks the cheese in there.
That was a whole stick of it.
I already ate all my mac salad.
This
ate
is what she
all
does.
my onion cups. But this potato, freaking fabulous.
Freaking fabulous.
And this is what she eats while she's grading papers, you know.
This garnet potato is very similar to the Japanese sweet potato, and it tastes like chestnuts.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it does.
She's a female Buddy the Elf.
Oh boy, that was so what? She's eating that while grading papers and making TikToks.
Yeah, you go to the parent-teacher conference and she's just munching on a sweet potato with the skin on.
Making that face right there.
But what I don't understand is how, you know, it's perfectly normal and acceptable to like eat an entire tub of no-bake cheesecake from the grocery store, but it's, you know, eating a potato with cheese. What a novel concept. People are saying this is a depression meal. This is a struggle meal. Like, we feel like worried about you, ma'am. This isn't okay what you're doing. And like, it's just a potato with cheese. Like, she didn't come up with that combo all by herself. It's been around for a while. It's kind of a tried and true flavor combination. I mean, this is what you eat if you don't care about eating enough protein in a day, which is most women. But again, it's the internet just has to ruin everything. So now she's getting invited on, you know, Jennifer Hudson's daytime show to demonstrate how to create the viral sweet potato. And they're eating it on a television show together, like it's some insane thing.
That's real gluttony, which is to fly her out to show her just sticking a piece of cheese in a potato.
That's it.
They could have done it themselves by watching the video.
But then there's the drove of think pieces to follow about what the sweet potato with cheese means for society.
So what does it mean? So I said cheesecake theory earlier. I guess I should have said weird sweet potato theory or whatever theory. What do the think pieces say?
Well, the cut says, did you know we were allowed to love desk lunch this much? A sweet potato tutorial with Courtney Cook, the only TikTok star not counting macros. This is, according to them, teaching us that we can enjoy our lunch that we eat at work. And this is groundbreaking information.
Have they written similar articles about how the Snackle box is breaking gender norms and allowing girl dinner to be a sign of something other than misogyny? Or something like that? I'm just stringing words together now. I'm like that guy getting interviewed for the movie.
In this piece in the cut, they said, in a year when I could not look at my phone without seeing someone's dramatic weight loss, Courtney's freedom with food has been especially refreshing.
So
she's freeing all of us to enjoy a potato with cheese.
It's anti Ozempic propaganda to get you to focus on eating what you want rather than getting thin.
And then another think piece says, you're 36. Do what you want. How Courtney Cook's viral sweet potato is changing the way we think about food. It's not changing anything. It's a potato with cheese in it. Another think piece claims the viral sweet potato trend is a culinary scam. And no, I did not exert the energy to read any of these think pieces in full because I want to be happy. But it's just like when you find something that you enjoy like that, maybe the moral of the story is that you ought to keep it to yourself instead of sharing your joy with the world.
That meme that says like you're home from work, you're too tired to cook, just eat an olive, eat 5, eat 20, nobody's watching. You don't need to go and set up your camera tripod and make a video. It's like these olives there's only 5 calories per olive. Or like 2 calories per pickle, and that's what you eat after work. You can just do that. You don't have to share it with the world.
Yeah, no. And if you found out that you can put Biscoff cookies in yogurt and pretend that it's cheesecake, and that adds some kind of vibrancy to your life, don't share it with the world because they're going to turn it into a diabetes bomb.
But that's the problem though. So this has been going on as long as social media has been a thing, where people get excited about something, they share it with somebody who is not experiencing that same feeling of elation. In fact, what that person really wants to experience is the elation of making you feel like a piece of shit because you like something. That's
right.
That's the way of the internet. So the best thing would be to keep it to yourself unless you're ready for the harshest critique to befall you.
This also just called to mind for me recent TikTok comment actually that went viral. It was a girl who made a video about New Year's resolutions. She was like, talking about her 2026 rebrand and things that people are doing to make the most of the new year. And this girl commented saying, I'm getting 365 buttons, one for each day, because I want to do more stuff and I'm scared of time, so I want to be more conscious of it. This naturally begged follow-up questions from other users when one commenter asked, yes, but what do you mean buttons? Like to wear? She provided the following answer. Just have to see how quick days pass and remind myself that time passes and I just have fun and to do a lot of stuff. Another commenter doubled down saying, what are you doing with the buttons every day? Are you putting them in a jar? Are you wearing them? But instead of answering the question, Tamara, this is a hero, that this is a role model for us. Tamara said, instead of answering the question, she said, hey, so it actually only has to make sense to me for me to do it, and I don't feel like explaining it to anyone else. And this just caused shockwaves. Like the idea that you don't need to explain anything to people on the internet who are interrogating you.
Yeah.
Is a revolutionary concept.
But the thing is like we've had that conversation before about the best celebrities are okay with not being understood, because no, you're never going to be able to make, even if you could, it wouldn't work, because even if they understand what you mean, they probably don't agree with you anyways. You have to be okay with being misunderstood. I put a post out the other day about that guy who climbed the top of the building for like $500,000, and Mr. Beast said he'd have paid him way more. And they asked him, like, what did it mean? Like, why did you do this? Like, do you have a message for the world? And he's like, no, not really. Which I thought was awesome. I was like, I like the idea of somebody being like, you know, I don't do it because I want to make the world a better place. Sometimes you just challenge yourself. And somebody responded and said, seeing secret messages everywhere is female behavior. And I was just like, I don't have the time or the inclination to ask what you meant by that, because I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. And then just go on with your day. Like, you don't need to explain what you mean for anything. And I'm not even talking about necessarily, you know, some big choice you make, but when you explain something, you know, somebody on the internet's not going to understand it. Reading comprehension is at an all-time low. I am perfect evidence of that. But the point is, you can be okay with that. The world isn't going to end.
Yeah, if something brings you joy.
But it's human nature to explain yourself, because nobody likes being misunderstood, which I get.
Right. Which is why, from the get-go, if there is something that brings you joy, no matter how small it is, you might want to err on the side of just keeping that to yourself instead of trying to share it with the world, because it's not going to be appreciated.
I've actually mentioned this to you before, and I've never kind of been able to explain what I meant for that, which is like in the show The Mentalist, the character of Patrick Jane at one point goes to a therapist to try and trick him into admitting something. And he goes to see the therapist, and he gives him a whole backstory about his life. That's fake. He doesn't, it's based off like a book or something like that. And at the end of the therapy session, the guy goes, not a word of what you just told me was true, right? And he goes, no, it was basically, yes, it was all a lie. And then the guy goes, but I can see that you're in real pain. Why wouldn't you just tell the truth? And he says, the truth is mine, which is like, to him, it doesn't matter whether he knows it or not. He knows the truth of his situation. He knows the truth of his pain, his trauma, whatever that might be. And it's not a perfect one-to-one comparison, but that ability to want to keep whatever the truth is. Now, this is where the misunderstanding around the concept of the term your truth comes from, because it used to mean something where you meant something a certain way and somebody took it wrong, but it was still the truth of what you said, which became a scapegoat for saying, we're looking at the same thing and we see it differently, therefore my truth. So on the internet, if you want to eat 3 Biscoff cookies in cheesecake mix, that's fine. You don't need to explain it to anybody. It's a sign of a lack of self-assurance if you feel like you need to.
Wow, I didn't expect this discussion to take the turn that it did, but
there you go.
That's what I appreciate so much about this show.
All right, let's go to Super Chats then, ladies and gentlemen. We do have a bunch to get into today. I will start over on Rumble because we do have some Rumble rants over here. The local Wendigo says, I don't care when they cry and boo. I've seen what makes them cheer and claps and screw. So screw these protesters, send more feds. Obviously, he's talking in reference to what is going on in Minneapolis.
I mean, that would be nice, but they're actually acquiescing to the activists that are obstructing ICE by... They're actually like condemning the actions of the ICE officers. So that's just not going to happen, unfortunately. Like that's what I was frustrated by, and what I posted about a couple of days ago. I was like, okay, so we're not gonna get the mass deportations, but we're gonna get
that happened
all of this shit and all of the media hysteria and all of the violence that we would get regardless, just without any of the benefits.
I mean, we knew that was true the moment they said they wouldn't go after the factory farms and the in the prisons, right? So it's all performative, and none of it's going to be helpful to anyone. Cut off the welfare benefits, and don't add citizenship, and make it untenable if you want to get them out.
I believe this was pre-election 2024. I could be wrong, but I got into this back and forth with Phil on IRL, and I was like, I'm telling you right now, we are not going to get mass deportations with this if Trump wins. We're not going to get them. And, look, I could still be proven wrong, and, like, I would be overjoyed if I were, but that's just clearly not what's going to happen.
No, it was never going to happen. I do still find it funny to look at all the old videos of Obama and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and all of these people. Just know that your views haven't changed that much. I always feel like you get gaslit on this because people say it so much. I would have been a Democrat 15 years ago. And sometimes that feels like maybe it wasn't true and maybe it was different. But then you look at those videos and you're like, no, it would definitely.
No, Hillary Clinton talking about super predators. I'm like, go off.
Bernie Sanders talking about the Koch brothers conspiracy. Local Wendigo says chickpeas, tomato paste, and spices is a simple, fast meal I sometimes eat. Well, there you go. That's some fantastic advice from the local Wendigo.
That sounds nice.
Half-Baked Treehouse on Rumble says, late as usual, but apropos to the collapse of the manosphere, remember, boys, just because a woman gives you a compliment, that doesn't mean she wants to F to the UCKU. She's probably just a good person. Stay toxic, my friends.
Am I out of touch? Is the manosphere collapsing? Is that true?
I mean, I don't pay attention to the manosphere, so I
don't
no
either.
clue.
So
are 80% of the women still going after 20% of the men? I have no idea. I also saw this other thread today, and of course, it was one of those threads that was put together by somebody, I believe, who was shipping. He was selling an ebook course as usual.
Great.
And he was talking about the population collapse is going to happen. Women now who would have married men in their hometown are being flown to St. Bart's, and they end up marrying that guy. I'm like, if by marrying you mean get peed on, but okay.
Whoa. That's crazy.
And basically saying like this woman who would have normally married a guy in her hometown, which is of course even before the internet wouldn't have happened necessarily because people were going off to college and living a life across the country. It's not like we just invented cars and then the internet came right after. So it's a weirdly anachronistic way of looking at things to pretend like just yesterday or 5 years ago people were only marrying people in their hometown.
Well, I do lend credence to the fact that dating apps have totally changed people's mindset about what options they have.
But he was saying like, but this is pervasive and growing. I'm like, bro, not every girl that you knew went to from high school is getting flown to St. Bart's.
Yeah, is getting flued out by NFL players or something. Dude. Like, come on now.
It's a defeatist,
that's some kind of weird
defeatist attitude that's designed to make you to stop trying.
It's a little bit like it's like a fantasy for them almost. It's kind of sick. Yeah.
All right. Shane H. Wilder says, happy Wednesday, Brett and Mary. I saw some of the crew last week and left gifts for them to give to Mary, Tim, and Phil. Mary, you get the Alex Jones parrot.
Nice. I don't entirely know what that means, but
we'll have to.
Does he have a parrot?
I'm sure there's some lore there.
Or it's like a parrot that you like. It's like Build-A-Bear where he says the parrot says Alex Jones phrases.
Maybe.
That's pretty cool.
Shane H. Wilder says intercession maxing for tech issues. Yes, we're good so far.
Yes.
Knock on,
We're all good.
So it's like I was having like a sort of realization the other night where it's like men are the more rational gender. Also me, I better not talk about this thing, otherwise it won't happen. It's like the ability to be both rational and still fall into magical thinking. It can still happen, even if it makes no sense.
That's what I said earlier off air. I said if you are having an issue with your internet and something's buffering, you just need to act like you don't care and just look away, and then it'll load faster.
Yeah. Well, I'm keeping that. Now we're talking about it. So if we get cut off now, maybe the magical thinking is real, but we'll have to wait and see.
Then we'll know.
Greg Duvier says, put a Chloe on since Olivia says she gets no love. It is true, ladies and gentlemen, that Chloe, of our 3 cats, Chloe gets the least love. But I think that's also because Chloe is the most self-assured and doesn't need your well wishes or your support. She's perfectly happy on her own. She's the actual girl boss, independent woman that don't need no man.
Yeah, she's an independent cat who don't need no pets.
Yep. Chief Corey Anderson says, I thought Mary said she doesn't go to the gym. Well, that's why she said this was out of character.
This is a new arc for me. Like, I'm a new person. I don't recognize myself, but it's the big 26.
Yeah,
so
it hits you. Then you're
anything could happen.
All right. Robert Delara says, Mary, you can say that you are a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma.
Yes, I contain multitudes.
Yep, there you go. Chief Corey Anderson says, what even is Worcestershire sauce? But actually what he said is Worcestershire. Is it Worcestershire? Worcestershire? I thought it was Worcestershire.
I don't know, actually.
Worcestershire Heights? What even is Worcestershire Heights?
Oh, yeah, it's a book.
Okay.
I don't think I've read it.
Is that like
before.
a sequel to Wuthering Heights? What is with these annoying town names?
Oh, I just thought he was talking about Wuthering Heights. But yeah, it's a book.
All right. High Voltage 75 says, I got 10 inches of snow and now negative temperatures all week. I'll still take that over what Nashville got. Fuck ice, the frozen water kind.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you got to preface now. Like now when you go outside, like true patriots will be like, fuck ice, like the kind on the ground, not the law enforcement agency.
It's not just that.
Oh my gosh, snow plows should somebody should start a plow company called Abolish Ice.
People around here already have an issue where they don't clean up after their dogs. And it's even worse because it's cold and they're being babies about it. So I was just like walking around and looking at all of the yellow spots on the ice and dog poop on the ice. It's just like dog poop as a cherry on top of a giant pile of ice.
Do we live in a barn? Are we?
It's gross.
So the other thing about the snow that I realized is, look, guys, I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in Minnesota my whole life until I moved out here at, I guess, 36, 35. And the weather out here is mild by comparison, temperature-wise. It very rarely gets down to the temperatures it gets to in the Midwest. Snow is a bit worse to deal with out here because they don't have great plowing infrastructure, and you're basically on the side of a mountain, which is terrifying to drive down when the snow is bad because there's no damn guardrails on anything, and you don't want to plummet to your death.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say that life was better before you had to deal with influencers online posting like graphics with red bubbles and spreads showing you the storm that's about to destroy you and ruin your life. You better buy 10 gallons of water. You're going to get... Look, all that stuff happened for the most part. Got snowed in. Kind of sucks. Guess what? It still would have been better to deal with on your own without having to go through the additional problem of somebody trying to scare the piss out of you for a week leading up to it. Somehow we did it our whole lives in Minnesota without influencers or people on social media trying to... Nobody actually buys that it's about preparedness. It's about, clicks and getting people freaked out so that they will click on the stuff that you're making.
But it was also offline. Like, people were asking me in real life, like, you prepared for this storm yet? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's not the apocalypse, guys. Like, why are we freaking out? I thankfully did not have my power go out at all, which is very fortunate. But, you know, like, big whoop. Like, I'm not gonna, this is the thing that people did. Everyone went to the grocery store in droves and bought all of the perishable food.
Which makes no
Why
sense.
would you do that? That is the opposite of what you were supposed to do before a storm. And also, it doesn't matter how many times you warn the public not to drive during a snowstorm or during an ice storm. They're just gonna do it anyway. Like, the people who have that, like, I don't know what it is, like that audacity to go driving around in sleet, nothing you say can convince them not to do it. They're just going to do it, and people are going to die. It's the same thing every time. I'm not one of those people. I am a more cautious type. So
I did, however, see a video. I couldn't tell if it was real or not. I wasn't looking that closely, of a tree exploding, and it was pretty wild.
It exploded?
You haven't heard of that? About, like, I've seen...
I saw a car explode.
No, like, the sap in trees expands and causes, like, trees to, like, rupture from the inside in the cold.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of the smaller trees around here. They look drunk. They just, like, split like that.
All right. Chief Corey Anderson says, let me make sure I... Okay, yes. Chief Corey Anderson says, have you seen the trailer for the Cotton-Eyed Joe horror movie? No, I have not. I did not know they were making... Is it going to have a dark and brooding remix of that song?
Oh, of course. Just like the every trailer.
Very long time ago.
Yeah.
Where did you come from? Ding. Where did you go? Ah! Where did you come from? Cotton-Eyed Joe. And then he appears out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's news to me. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was happening.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, the Shane H. Wilder one says the plane sat for 60 hours, not 60 minutes. I thought he said 60 minutes. The plane sat for 60 hours, not 60 minutes. They literally left the plane out through the storm and forgot to de-ice it.
What do you mean they forgot? What is wrong with people now? This is why everything sucks. There's just incompetence in every area of modern life. Like, people just don't care about their jobs anymore.
De-ice? D-E-I? It's all connected, bro.
The snowstorm is woke. Have you seen the ice conspiracies, though?
No.
It's not real ice, guys. It's fake ice. It's fake snow. Because a bunch of Facebook boomer moms showed me that when they grab a piece of the snow and they take it inside and they put a lighter to it, it starts charring. The snow starts charring instead of melting. Because, as everyone knows, snow is just water, right? It's just made of water. There's nothing else in it.
I also
couldn't possibly be the chemical compounds in the road salt or pollutants in the air where it came from. No, it's fake snow from... like Jewish weather machines or something. I don't know.
I also saw somebody talking about how ice isn't melting anymore, even in 30-degree weather.
Yeah. Yeah. The melting point is actually 30 degrees, in case you didn't know.
Okay. All right. Robert Delera says, if there was a Mount Rushmore of insufferable people, Billie Eilish would be on it.
Well, who else? Who's our Mount Rushmore? I'd have to put Eric Butts on there. Who else?
Who else would be on there? I guess
Meghan Markle. Markle.
I would put Mark Ruffalo on there.
Really?
I would.
People pay less attention to him, so I wouldn't think of him off the top of my head. But yeah, Meghan Markle though definitely belongs on it. Who else? Maybe that one Variety reporter that we're constantly clowning on.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I don't know his name though.
I forget his name too. Yeah.
Where was that image of Mark Ruffalo with like the sideways hat?
What?
This hat that he was wearing.
What is that? What am I looking at?
It says immigrant on it.
Is Mark Ruffalo an immigrant?
Yeah, so wearing that hat automatically qualifies you for that list, in my personal opinion.
Great.
All right, let me get rid of this here. Back to the super chats. Shane H. Wilder says, my regiment is 15 minutes of running and jogging, 10 minutes leg press, and 25 minutes of upper body daily. I just pop on the Hallow app and go. What do you listen to while you're at the gym, Mary?
I'm not going to lie. I have been on...
Nope. Oh, we're losing her, guys. That's the worst. We just lost her. All right. Let's get through these super chats. We'll see if we see. This is why we got through all the topics the way we did them. That way we don't have to worry about losing her when this stuff is going on. So we will just finish the super chats here, guys. And the answer to that question, if you're wondering, which she did tell me about earlier, is that she does her workout routine, right? And then she listens to Matt Walsh while working out, which isn't what I would choose personally. Definitely wouldn't be doing that. Pop Culture Junkie says, Dope, you missed my second $20 super chat. I do believe that I got it, Junkie, but I'm going to go back up here and read it one more time. Says, Mary, I walk 2 miles and do 10 minutes on a stationary bike every day. I can tell that they create the 4 happy hormones in my brain, making me feel better. What are those, Junkie? You'll have to let me know what those 4 hormones are, because I don't actually know the answer to that question. There's so many influencers online now with so much fitness stuff that's just overloading your brain and turning fitness into a science that I just don't understand personally. But you'll have to let me know what those 4 hormones actually are. ERD Reg, I'm assuming that's Eric, says, Eric, here's a few bucks. Thank you. We appreciate it. Alexei Maximov, which it's cutting off the name here. I'm not sure if I'm getting the whole thing there, man. I apologize. Alexei Maximov says, Gen Z are the only people who can read Lewis Lowry's The Giver and come out of it thinking it was some kind of utopian paradise, an instruction manual instead of a warning. Look, I mean, I don't know how much of Gen Z these days is reading anyways with a lot of this stuff. Maybe what they would be doing instead is listening to like their favorite book talk creator give 10-minute breakdowns of books. Remember there was an app at one point, and I forget what it was called, where it was like abbreviated books that you could download. So instead of actually reading the book or even listening to the audiobook, it gave you like a Cliff Notes version of it so that you could just get the gist of everything without actually reading it. That feels like it's a give-in to technology and stuff as well, considering, you know, the actual choice to to listen to an audiobook is still good, even if I don't believe that it actually works as well as actually sitting down and reading a book. I feel like you retain when you read actively far better than when you listen. At least that's what it's felt like for me. Like when I actually sit down and read, which, you know, admittedly so, isn't nearly enough. I should read more. Like when I do, whether it's stuff for work or anything else, actually sitting down and reading rather than listening to something in transcript, it sticks way better. But you have to be an active reader, and that's not the easiest thing to do these days in an age where everything is fast-paced, internet, overstimulation, your brain, your cortisol levels, all that stuff. It's just, it is what it is that way these days. All right. Shane H. Wilder says, the issue is that there's no romance in movies. It's just sex for sex sake. There is a reason there are so many porn-brained people and it's disheartening. Yeah. I mean, as Mary said earlier, as she keeps trying to get back on the stream while trying to figure out her problem, we do have a downside in the culture right now where there are less rom-coms. And I think one of the reasons that rom-coms are less amenable to, or why they're less amenable to rom-coms, is it feels like we are in a culture now where everybody is separated with this vast chasm of internet activity between us, and showcasing actual human connection feels like a foreign concept to a lot of people. Now, it still works in the case of like large-scale stories. You can show the idea of the human experience in the world of superheroes because everybody kind of understands the idea of what it would be like to see a world almost come to the brink of extinction via some fanciful tale, but everybody can still understand the idea of like it would be cathartic to see the world saved or anything like that. It's just, it makes perfect sense. But when it comes to actual human connection with one another, it just feels like that's not the default status anymore, because everybody's connection is through the internet, and stories about internet connection are inherently flawed and just don't actually work. I've yet to see a movie that really captures that in a way that works. It works to me. Maybe you guys know an example. Well, there was like a movie in like 2012 that tried to topple that or cover that topic. It was like Jason Bateman. It was called like Disconnected or something like that. I don't remember. It was a long, long time ago. Maybe it was after 2012. Shane H. Wilder says, bring back the National League of Decency. Well, I don't know what the National League of Decency is, but I'm sure Mary would. But maybe we can reinvigorate that movement and bring back the National League of Decency. Corey Anderson says, Mary, did you know that Brett forces Colonel Kurtz to stream from inside her pantry when she is on PCC? Well, my friend, Mary is not here right now because she's still trying to reestablish internet connection. So she probably doesn't know that I actually locked Colonel Kurtz in a pantry and made her do the show that way yesterday. Because I said, you know what? You can't just leave. You can't just not do the show today. You made a commitment. I'm going to need you to go to the room underneath the stairs with the vegetables and the canned foods and all of those things, and you're going to do the show no matter what. And because Colonel Kurtz is a good sport, she did in fact do that, which is why things are so good. I wonder if Mary's connection issues, because we weren't really having this issue the last couple of weeks, I wonder if it does have to do with the ice and the weather out there. By the way, it did not happen right after we talked about the magical thinking earlier, so don't fall into that trap. That's what magicians and, charlatans use to try and get you to believe they're garbage. Robert Delara says, I don't need celebrities doing stupid interviews for me to see their movie. Jack Nicholson hardly did interviews and people went to see his movies. Well, we've talked about that as well. Like, you look at what Denzel Washington said to Michael B. Jordan, and he warned him against doing too much on social media. He said, look, if people can see you for free Monday through Friday, why would they pay on Saturday to see you at the movie? There is something to be said about an air of mystery working in the favor of an actor. The problem is, and I've talked about this on tons of videos before, that is not a plausible option for them anymore because actors don't have the ability to get big roles unless they have social media. We talked about whether it was one of the Fannings, it was Dakota or Elle Fanning, saying that she was talking to like her agent about getting off social media and maybe like deleting her Instagram. And they said so a lot of these casting directors talk to their executive producers and they will not hire actors unless they have actually got a verified number of followers that they can use to exploit the promotion of the film. They need somebody with a large platform because they need to get the word out there for the movie. And even that isn't enough anymore, which is why you see influencers end up at movie premieres, even though they have nothing to do with the film industry. They're still brought there because they're going to put out TikToks dancing in front of some movie promotional poster at the red carpet event and hopefully get that out to their tens of millions of followers and get them to watch their movie, which doesn't always work, but that's the way it is these days. The Jack Nicholson route, it's just not plausible within the industry anymore. Cleggy says, with Jacob Elordi, send gif of Jesse from Breaking Brad. They'll make a sequel one day about a guy named Brad called Breaking Brad. From Breaking Bad, screaming, he can't keep getting away with it. It's true. Chief Corey Anderson says, having never read the book, I was under the impression that Heathcliff and Catherine had an extremely destructive relationship. Why romanticize this? Well, I know that you're kind of doing the... I guess that would be considered the rhetorical question bit, but Hollywood loves the idea of destructive romance and telling dysfunctional stories, which is why most of the time when people have these discussions about why you don't see good dads on television anymore, or why Disney leaned into the trope of having a dead parent in their movies and television shows, conflict or dysfunction makes for, in their mind, good storytelling. And telling the stories of well-adjusted people is rarely interesting in the hands of anyone other than perhaps an auteur or incredible storyteller. So if you regress to the mean of a storyteller's writing ability, they are not going to be able to tell the story of a well-mannered and not dysfunctional family without it coming across as boring. And that's just the way that it is, unfortunately. Chief Corey Anderson says, Marty Supreme is a stupid name and should lose just because of it. Also, Jodie Foster played a pro at age 12, although Taxi Driver is a classic. Yes, I saw some of the comments in there about the many examples of, unfortunately, disgusting stories from Hollywood about underage actresses being put into compromising positions in their roles and things like that. I saw Olivia Diabo was mentioned. I don't know if I pronounced that last name correctly. I think she ended up playing like Vincent D'Onofrio's arch nemesis on Law and Order: Criminal Intent. But of course they mentioned Brooke Shields as well. All cases of women underage being taken advantage of by Hollywood, because Hollywood is full of disgusting creeps. Corey Anderson says, no, I'm sorry. Let me scroll back up here. Shane H. Wilder says, I got diabetes and lost my leg just watching that. Yeah. But that's the nature of the internet, my friend. The nature of the internet, if somebody shows you how to do something clever or interesting, the rest of the world is going to make it gluttonous and make it out to be something disgusting by the time it gets done with it. It's like a game of telephone. By the time you get to the end of the Cheesecake challenge, you're in the most disgusting setting possible, and you've got a tub of I don't even know what that was. It was like easy made cheesecake. I've never heard of such a thing. I guess I don't weigh enough to know what like no bake cheesecake is, but you know, such is the nature of the internet. Corey Anderson says, the greatest thing about millennials and Gen Z having fewer kids is a lot of teachers are going to be out of work in a few years. I hate unions. I mean, here's the thing, though, buddy. Say what you want about the teachers being out of business. That lady we were watching earlier, which is this lady on screen, they're just going to make their job, they're going to make their business by just being social media influencers. I guess it'll be less interesting when they don't have the job of being a teacher as their jumping off point. Like when you're a social media influencer, you usually have, for a lot of them, they have a career that people deem to be generally interesting or something they don't really know firsthand. So it's a jumping off point for content. So teachers making content around being teachers. But if there are less teachers, then I guess there will be maybe perhaps less social media influencers as well. All right. Let me scroll back up here. Chief Corey Anderson says, why isn't Mary reading the Superchats, Brett? Well, he sent that before Mary was having connectivity issues. And the reason for that is the crisis meter is still not working. Therefore, there is no spreadsheet with all of the Superchats populating. So she wouldn't be able to look at them that way. No Control says, plus I would like to think, given the fact that I am, and I talk about this all the time, my reading out loud is generally atrocious. Today has been one of the less bad days. I haven't had as bad of a time reading today as I do some days. So it is what it is. I'm hoping that my reading isn't too awful for you. Though somebody did say, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, somebody did say when I mentioned it in the tweet about like Kai Cenat, I think it was, who was doing his reading streams, which I think is a fantastic idea and is a great thing to encourage. Yeah, they do it for clicks, but encouraging good behavior is still, encouraging good behavior for clicks is still preferable to encouraging bad behavior for clicks. Like showing somebody reading to improve their reading comprehension and speaking skills is a good idea, I think. And I pointed out, I said, I need to do something like this because my ability to read out loud does a lot of times leave a lot to be desired. And somebody said, like, it's not your reading, it's your grammar. And he pointed out, he's like, you always say Olivia and me, like me and Olivia. I say me and Olivia went and did this. And I was like, I just feel, unless it's a very formal setting, saying Olivia and I, it doesn't roll off the tongue that way for me. All right. No Control says, Snoopy says, never eat yellow snow. I hope so. That would be good. And Snoopy would be hopefully the first to understand that you should not do that. And hopefully Snoopy is not contributing to the yellow snow. Shane H. Wilder says, the Alex Jones parrot is the stuffed animal I designed for the 1,000 sub special. It has a PCC pirate hat and screams about gay frogs when you squeeze it. Tim got the Civil War button. Someone might have set off in a restaurant. That is true. All right. Adam says, the banana and rice woman just got arrested for obstruction. Hilarious. Can't make this stuff up. Okay. All right. Chief Corey Anderson says, will you make 400K subs in the next 14 episodes? Bro, I don't know. And the crazy thing about it is like right now on this channel, full disclosure, we are trying aggressively to get back on track. Obviously, I did not help the matter last week because I had, again, me and my wife, we were out of town for a funeral, and those obligations do matter. So you can't just not do them. And with that, we just keep having these stop and start days with the show, which is the worst. But also, people are getting accustomed to a new format. They wish we still were running the show as it ran before, as I'm sure a lot of us do, and a lot of us would. Certainly, it would eliminate some of the hassles that we've had as far as tech issues and all of that stuff. I see Mary, but I can't hear her. Okay. Yes.
Can you hear me? I don't know how long this is gonna last, but
that's okay.
I certainly did all I could to fix the problem. And then
this is why I say we do the show at breakneck speed. You do the segments 15, 30, 45, 60. You get them all done. That way I can just bullshit with the audience here and read super chats. Also, I would like to pat myself on the back and say that my reading today is less awful than it normally is. But back to the point that I was making. Right now, the channel has been stop and start, which is obviously difficult when you're trying to get back on track. We lost a lot of steam because of the holidays, because of Mary's move. We had to then, we probably were gun shy about going live. Given the fact that we're still dealing with tech issues, we should have just said fuck it and gone live anyways. But, hindsight being 2020, it makes no sense, honestly. Like, we are trying to get back on track, get the live viewership back on track, remind people that we are live Monday through Friday. I have to remind everyone, Mary is live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And still, the channel is growing, which makes no sense that there's continuous new subscribers. I don't know if there is a subscriber fairy out there somewhere that perhaps is granting us some wish, but new subscribers are great, but I would rather the subscribers we have watch the channel. That's what I would prefer.
It's still a good thing, though. Mm-hmm. That's something to be positive about. I was about to say, before I was so rudely cut off by my internet connection dropping, that in the gym, I have been listening to Matt Walsh nonstop.
I mentioned that. I said that she's listening to Matt Walsh.
Yeah, I've been on a Matt Walsh marathon. I have now listened back 3 months into his catalog of episodes. Okay. Like, I'm just going in order all the way back.
Do you like doing that with, because his shows are mostly current events, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I still like his manner of speech, and people don't think that he's got a sense of humor, but he does have a sense of humor. I appreciate it. Some of it is timeless. You
know who I had the realization the other day? My diabolical plan would be to get on a podcast together, would be Matt Walsh and BG Cumby.
Whoa. That would be incredible.
Yes, actually. It would. I know at the Daily Wire it would probably end up being Michael Knowles who would host somebody like BG Cumby, but Matt Walsh and BG Cumby would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, as long as Walsh doesn't rage quit, Yep. But honestly, after watching What Is a Woman, after watching Am I Racist as well, you can tell that he's got sort of a, he's got humorous bones in his body. He could definitely, lean into the satirical nature of BG Cumby's content.
I think that they would actually make a
right. He would need some context before talking to him, but I think that they might actually be a very powerful comedic duo.
I do too.
given the opportunity.
I do too.
I would love to see that.
There was a super chat earlier. I'm sorry. Adam said the banana and rice lady just got arrested for obstruction. Hilarious. Do you know who this is?
Whoa. Okay, so she claimed that ICE officers assaulted her and called her the N-word, I believe. I don't remember her name, but she is a Somalian American. I don't remember if she was born here or what. But just imagine like all of the values and beliefs of a third world Muslim migrant, but give her the voice of a vapid white American TikToker.
Okay.
And that's what you get. That's her. But I didn't know about her arrest. That's crazy. It's kind of like, bananas with rice.
Yes. Okay. We have a 20 here from Katie over there in Australia, I believe. Says, USA, I beg of you to please take back the pro-censorship woman, Julie Inman. She is American. The Aussie I think she meant far left prime minister gave her a pay rise. I can't use Substack anymore. They demand I prove my age to use the app.
Oh, is this like age verification laws in Australia?
And they have the nerve to comment on the freedom of the United States of America.
Free speech.
All right. High Voltage 75 says, who would be on the PCC Mount Rushmore?
Well, us, obviously. First of all. Who else?
It would be Mary, Phil, Tate. Now, there's some recency bias there. We need to find... who would it be? Phil for sure, obviously. Mary. We need... who are...
You know what? Dane Font.
There you go.
I'm going to say it.
Dane was a was the hallmark of consistency. So I'm down with that answer. We need one more. I am going to say... What guest has come back the most that didn't work for the company? We're going to put them there.
Maybe Aiden?
Probably Aiden. So I'd go Aiden, Dane, Phil, and you.
Yeah, Aiden deserves the credit.
I will be the one who built it. That way I'm not on Mount Rushmore. I'm the Mount in Mount Rushmore.
I think you belong on it, though.
Pat the Plumber says, Mary not reading Super Chats is proof she's AI now.
I swear I'm real, but I can't prove it. You can count my fingers, though.
Yes.
I have 10 fingers.
I didn't like that thing where the guy was selling a ring that makes a fake sixth finger so that when you end up on security camera footage, they're like, look, it's not real. He's got 6 fingers.
That's a scarily clever idea, actually.
Chief Corey Anderson says Jennifer Welch, Meghan Markle, Mark Ruffalo, and Jasmine Crockett are the most insufferable people. Jennifer Welch is like that insane podcaster who just looks she just looks like the meanest person on planet Earth.
Is the I've had enough podcast, maybe. I think.
It's the lady who just looks
that
mean.
Other lady.
All right, Pop Culture Junkie says about the 4 earlier he was talking about the 4 happy hormones that help when you exercise.
Oh yeah, what are they?
Actually, it's 5: dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, endorphins, and endocannabinoids. Okay.
Never heard of the last one, and I only know 2 of them.
All right. High Voltage 75 says, I have an idea. When Mary's feed cuts out, you just call her and put her on speaker.
It's not a bad idea, but at the same time, I am also troubleshooting the whole situation.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. So I was thinking about it yesterday when we were having the tech issues. It's you have to just abandon the idea that they're going to come back and just assume that they're not. Because otherwise, I'm trying to talk, right? I'm talking about Sydney Sweeney hanging bras off of the Hollywood sign while I'm looking at Kurtz trying to figure out what's going on. And then it's just, Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah, it really teaches you true surrender to God's will.
I think I am going to start just bringing up a super secret 6th topic that I can just swap to and cover. Because I did 2 videos yesterday after the show because we didn't do I didn't feel that the Kanye topic came out well because she was just getting her stuff fixed, and I felt like it was just not delivered well. I didn't make the points I wanted to make. So I recorded 2 separate videos. Ideally, I could just have those topics waiting. And then if I need to, be like, we're going to do it live. A segment within a segment. It's like Inception. It's a segment within a live episode that wasn't part of the segments. It's crazy.
It's not a bad idea.
High Voltage 70.
We wish it weren't necessary.
Yes. High Voltage 75 says, I have an idea. Oh, no, we got that one. I'm sorry. Brian Bledsoe says, guess next time they offer Biscoff cookies on the plane, I'll try them. They are good. They're very good.
They are good, especially with a cup of coffee.
Mm.
When they come around and give out beverages, you just dip those Biscoff in the coffee.
Yep.
Incredible.
Oh, I did that the other day when we were out of town. I looked around and I took the lid off my cold brew and was like,
dipping Biscoff in cold coffee.
Mm-hmm.
That's a new concept to me.
Yeah. All right. Chief Corey Anderson says, ICE kidnapped Mary. That is why she's gone.
No,
well,
I'm an American citizen.
They were like, look, she's not carrying that model of SIG, which it's so funny because that's a story that's been going on. Trump said something like, this gun is very dangerous and fires by itself. I'm like, it's a government contract weapon. Like, it's literally a gun that the military uses. So you're kind of telling on yourself there, bro.
The rhetoric is not
the Glock bros have been rejoicing for days, and it's very, very rude of them.
Yeah,
they hate SIG a lot.
So on the topic of TikTok suppressing videos about ICE and immigration in general, I posted one with the caption, just the caption on the video. I wasn't saying anything. It was in the video. The text was in the video. It said something about illegal immigrants in my video. And it sat there with 0 views for like 8 hours. And I was like, okay, yeah, TikTok is definitely intentionally suppressing these videos, no matter who is saying it or like what political side they're on. You're just not allowed to make videos about immigration in the US.
Yep.
It's kind of
so even if you were making a pro ICE video, it wasn't gonna. Yeah, you're all censored.
Yeah, and it's bullshit.
So I mentioned earlier I was talking about like reading, like the differences between reading and listening to audiobooks. Obviously these days I don't read a lot of books, but I've listened to a fair amount of audiobooks, and it's just not the same experience, and you don't retain it as well because you're usually doing more than one thing. And I said, what about that app that they created that it wasn't even reading an audiobook? It was like a Cliff Notes version of the book so that you could understand like the broad points and concepts, but not have to heaven forbid you should even listen to the audiobook. And somebody on Rumble answered, said the book Cliff Notes app was called Blink List.
That's horrible.
We have surrendered as a society. All right. We got a couple more here. Shane H. Wilder says, if Mary stays up, tell her what the parrot is. Well, she's back.
What is the parrot?
Let me see if I can find it again. The Alex Jones parrot is the stuffed animal I designed for the 1,000 sub special. It has a PCC pirate hat and screams about gay frogs when you squeeze it. Tim got a Civil War button, which someone might have set off in a restaurant.
Okay, well, I'm excited to see it in person.
Yeah. All right. Red Snow says, Santa finally mandated elves must subscribe. Well, I don't know about all that, but you should subscribe to this channel right now if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder says, Matt Walsh or Michael Knowles? They both have strong points and very different styles of humor. Both love both their work for different reasons. There you go.
Yeah, I think that they both have their own strong suits, but I've just been on a Matt Walsh kick lately, especially because his episodes tend to be slightly longer. He does like a over an hour long podcast, so it's easier to just keep that playing in the background while I'm in the middle of something.
Chief Corey Anderson says, if Mary was married, she wouldn't have tech issues.
Because, well, this is so funny. It would happen sometimes. I'd have a random tech issue in the PCC studio, especially in Maryland, and then I would just be like staring at the computer, and like as soon as somebody, a man usually, just walks up to the computer, doesn't even do anything, doesn't even touch it, the issue just vanishes. It just stops.
it senses your fear. That's what it is. They can sense your fear.
That's what it is. That's why you have to pretend that you don't care to make it fix itself. That's how it works.
High Voltage 75 says Nicki Minaj appeared with Trump today at a summit, held his hand, and declared herself his #1 fan. Thoughts? I actually had this stuff pulled up because I had this stuff pulled up actually. It says Nicki Minaj pledges major cash investments for her fans. So it says for fans' babies born during Trump administration. And then also, President Trump proclaims Nicki Minaj the greatest female rapper in history. Well, that is the endorsement that you need. And she said that she was standing by him.
Well, everyone knows that she's the queen of rap. Everyone already knows that she's the greatest female rapper in history. That wasn't a pronouncement that Trump needed to make. But for the first one, I'm just thinking, isn't everyone just going to pretend to be a Barb in order to get a baby bonus?
Must be.
If that's the rule, like you have to be a fan of Nicki Minaj in order to get a stimulus check for your baby? Everyone's going to do it then.
How are we getting stimulus checks when we're 30 trillion in debt or 40 trillion in debt? No more stimulus checks.
Don't ask questions like that. You're not supposed to ask questions like that.
No more of those. All right.
Is we getting another stimulus check? Is we getting a baby bonus?
Chief Corey Anderson says, remember Mary said she'd be in studio for episode 1000. We are working on it.
Yes.
H. Wilder says, creating a technical difficulties screen for y'all. We'll have it by Friday. Honestly, that would be good, but I don't have the calmness to deal with that. I'm going to just talk through it. I think what we'll do is if I don't have a segment back up, I just go to chat and hang out and until Mary gets back.
Backup plan.
And then one day she just won't get it fixed and I'll just talk to the audience for 2 hours and maybe that's the worst show ever. Maybe it's the best show ever. But,
well, let's not speak that into existence.
Yes. And let's hope that
every problem has a solution, I'm sure.
Let's hope
it's the Big 26. Everyone keeps saying it's the Big 26. We can't still be dealing with problems like this.
Yes.
In current year.
Yes, we are.
Do we have any Rumble rants?
I read the Rumble rant, so we are good over there. Guys, before we go, I want you all to hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. I do want to thank each and every one of you who takes the time to watch the show, or if you listen to the audio version of this podcast, if you leave comments on the channel, whether those comments are good or bad, we appreciate it. Sharing your feedback, all of that stuff. So thank you to each and every one of you.
Yes.
Tomorrow I will be live in studio with Alex and Brandon. That will be a lot of fun. Got to figure out, I got to mold together a show to find stuff for us all to talk about. Brandon is one of those people that he's like, we were talking the other day and he's like talking about all this Marvel stuff that he loves. I'm like, bro, me and you we can do this. Like,
he's a bro.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a good day in the studio tomorrow. Mary, you will be back on Friday, correct?
Correct.
And we are going to stick to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule.
Yes.
All right. Where can they find you? Now, it's going to be funny if you cut out while you're doing your outro. That would be true karma.
Hopefully not.
Where can they find
you? Guys, I would like to double down on that. Thank you for tuning in and for all of your patience with us. You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived.
All right, we have a couple more super chats here. One from Pop Culture Junkie who says, Springsteen just released an anti-ICE protest song. I sense a shitstorm coming. There was also...
So did Water Parks. If any of you are familiar with the band Water Parks, it was the cringiest thing I've ever seen.
Also, it wasn't Bruce Springsteen. It was like Neil Diamond made his entire music catalog free to the nation of Greenland.
Oh, all dozen of them, right? That's great.
It was like
and they're like, thanks, bro, but our country's about to get invaded, so we're not really concerned with that right now.
It was like free access to like a catalog of his music. I'm like, is a VPN about gonna make me rich in Neil Diamond music right now?
That is ridiculous.
It is absolutely ridiculous. All right, one more here from Greg Dubier says, did we forget about Missy Elliott? She is the best female rapper. What about Jean Grey? What about Jean
No,
Ryan?
I'm sorry. Nicki Minaj trounces them all. She is the queen of rap. That is just an objective fact. And I'm not even a barb. That's just the truth.
I'm going to go ahead and go another direction and say that female rap is much like British rap in that it sucks. But that's just my thoughts.
I like British rap, actually. I quite like it. Unpopular take, I guess.
Yeah, that's a hot take right there. All right, guys, if you want to follow me, just make sure you don't listen to British rap. Otherwise, I'll have to block you. But you can follow me on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is here when all things are working the way they're supposed to, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. It was Neil. Sorry, thank you, Neil Young, not Neil Diamond. Thank you, Pop Culture Junkie. I got the Neil right.
I see. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Normally here 5 days a week. Mary will be here on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. If you want to listen to the audio version of this podcast, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. You can also rate and review on Apple Podcast and on Spotify, which is a great way to help us out. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at @PopCulture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see y'all then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.